Heck, I decided to film my musings of this turn. So this is situation from the last video. You can watch that just for the thoughts, and this might be a bit not so sort of viewer friendly, but anyway, this is how a turn goes for me. So it's Lee's turn, player turn, and he's in the movement phase. He's actually got 7 action points left, and Hill has 3. He managed to activate himself as a reaction in the Union player turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now Stuart is out of his command range. If he was within, Lee would have to spend an action point to activate him, but he doesn't have to. So let's do Stuart first. He's activating on his own. He's got 6. He's got initiative 6, so he automatically does that. And I think I want him to go and cut the rail line down here south of Washington. At the moment, the Union don't know if he's moving over this way or this way, and Pleasanton's prepared to trouble him. And that actually is a consideration I need to take into account, because Pleasanton's here. If I move down here, cut the rail line here, then I want Stuart to get back over, to go over the Potomac and to be cutting the rail lines there. Or I could just keep him moving around here, because Pleasanton can follow in his wake and repair the rail lines. We need to have a cut on them every turn. So yeah, okay. I think I'll have to leave that side to Lee and his cohorts, and Stuart will take this side of Potomac. So 1, 2, 3, he could move to here. That's fairly safe. Now Heinz could potentially move, who's in Washington, could potentially threaten Stuart, but he doesn't. Heinz only has an initiative of 2, so it's not so late. And anyway, he's probably going to want to keep those hexes covered, or else Stuart might dive in and take one of the depots there. So 1, 2, 3. That's Stuart. He activates himself. He's got 6 action points, so that spends 1. Then I'll also spend another of his to move this picket. I can't remember where it was. Did I move that, in fact? Okay. So I'll put it there. So the anticipation of Pleasanton moving up, that picket will see. Then Stuart, I'll leave him some action points so he can move in reaction to any movement of Pleasanton's from here as the picket picks it up. And I don't think it's going to hurt Stuart to activate another picket, send another one out. So I'll deduct that strength and the action point from Stuart. And that picket can stay there for when Stuart moves away, just in case this picket gets destroyed for some reason. They can also, in a way, guard those fords from this picket. Okay, so Stuart's got 3 action points left, which means he could move 3 times in the Union turn, which could potentially be something I wish to do. No, probably only twice, so I think I'm going to order that picket I just created over the ford over the Potomac, put it there. So that's Stuart's move turn, and now essentially it comes to Lee's. So Lee is here under march counter, which means you can't force march again this turn. Now Hill's just within range, so we spend an action point of Lee that activates Hill, Sorry, I said yes, Hill. I know Hill's already activated. He activated himself last turn. That's a good thing. That saves us points. So let's move Hill. This is the big thing. So first, Hill's going to spend a point, or he could borrow it from Lee, being in range. And I think I will do that because Hill might need points to move himself in reaction to Hooker. So, and he's got 3 left. So we're using one of Lee's action points. Hill's activating Pender there. Actually 3 action points to cut the rail line. There's already a cut here, but we're in anticipation of that one being mended quite quickly. Then I could use another action point to move Pender up. Now remember, normally on the map, Pender would look like that, so you wouldn't know this is a picket and this is a division, and the enemy would not know which was which. And that can move 2 and then 3. So I'm bringing him back in to attach him. So we'll spin that from Hill. So he's attached Hill. Now Hill can't now move off with him because obviously he had to wait for Pender to join him. Okay, I'm going to roll for this. I want to move him on his own. No, he's not going. This picket, so on a 1 or 2, they can move under their own initiative. Him neither. Okay, so now we're back to Lee. Now yours actually attached to him. Now they're in the same hex. I should return his counters to the board. To the strength point track. Okay, now the thing is, you see, if Lee moves, then Hooker has a picket within Hooker's reaction range of Lee, so Hooker can also move in reaction to him, provided he has the action points left. Now Lee wouldn't know that if he does, but if he'd been counting carefully, he would actually know Hooker's only got 1. But still, that's enough. So Lee is going to move over along this way. 1, because he's headquartered, and 2 extra for being Confederate. And Hooker, how it would actually happen is this. Oh no, actually, yeah, no, there you go. So he's moving. No, actually, Joyce, because Lee starts here, he's moving into this hex, and that's out of the reaction range, which is 2 hexes in this case. So Hooker will not be able to move in response. So Lee gets a nice free move up to there, spending one of his own action points. But now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's just out of range of Hill. So in fact, I'm going to leave him there. So he's still within range. And in Pennsylvania. And so I think that's all that we'll get done there. Now we go to the free reaction. So now Hooker, if he had a fellow within range of Lee, he could move. Now one of Hooker's units who's within reaction range of an enemy can cause reaction movement, whether that enemy has moved or not. So Hooker could actually move in this case. And so he's going to move he's going to move over here. And in fact, he could move here and skirmish that fellow and then continue moving. So he quite handily does that, continues moving here, destroying that. Confederate picket. That was silly of me. Lee should have moved that picket away. Okay. Yeah, that was a bad mistake, because now Lee doesn't have a picket. Watching Hooker, so Lee won't be able to move in reaction unless one of these moves closer to him. So that's the free reaction. Now it's forced march. Now Lee can't force march because he did last turn, but Hill could. But now Hill is blocked by Hooker here. However, if he comes down through here, he has some freedom, so I will do that. So 1 to force march, so quarters goes there. Now if he moves into here, that's an interesting point, because now Hooker placed himself here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have to go round him, so Hill's actually out of Lee's contact range, command radius. Yeah, see, I'm not very good at this. That was silly, because the point being is that's one action point to move there. Oh, his headquarters can only do that. I mean, it could come around here, I suppose. It will cost a fair few number of action points to move over that river into forest hex. That would be 3 action points. That would be all of Hill's action points on his own to do that. And potentially Hooker could force march and engage him in combat before Hill has a chance to move across there. So no, I'm going to move him by road. There. Indicate his march, forced march. So that is the end of the player turns, and then we go to the interphase. So we do a politics roll, which gained 1 victory point for the Confederates. We adjust the leader markers and the force march markers, and then the Union gained 3 victory points, and 1 for that Confederate picket they eliminated, and 2 victory points for having the rail line north from Washington to Harrisburg uncut. They would have gained 2 more, but we have cuts here leading from Washington to Cumberland. And the Confederates gained 6 victory points for having the Army of Northern Virginia north of the Potomac, and also those fellows being up there in Pennsylvania. And that's how it goes. So he would gain 5 more victory points for having the rail cuts, having a rail cut here and here, so that Washington cannot trace any rail line off the map. So for example, off to there, or this one off down here, strangely enough, into Virginia. But the point being that the net victory points of that turn was only 2 to the Confederates, and that's how it's been going. So the Union's actually on 26 victory points in 1, 2, 3 more game turns. If that hasn't reversed, so the Confederates have 25 victory points, they lose the campaign game without going all the way the end, sort of about halfway through, is, you know, like a cut-off point, having a threshold of victory points they have to reach. I'm afraid that's going to be the case, because the most they can get at the moment, the most they can get each turn is 11 victory points, and we have 3 game turns, so that would be 33 victory points. That's not going to swing it that way, even saying that the Union doesn't gain any other victory points, and inevitably they're going to get a few here and there for repairing rail lines and so forth. So that's it again, and I've had to do this in the last 2 games to call it, because the Confederates are just too far behind. And so again, I haven't found that the way for the Confederates to win this campaign game yet, which is probably not the best place to move on to the advanced game, but I still want to do it, because essentially it's the same strategy, so I'll still be, you know, trying to develop that strategy just with more mixed in. But what I'm going to do is just show you a quick battle to show how this works. Sorry, no, I'm not going to play out a battle. I don't have the energy at this time to perform that operation. And anyway, I think it's probably better, because I was just going to create an artificial battle, and it's probably better to let it develop organically out of an actual gameplay. So I'm trying to figure out what I should and shouldn't include in a artificially created battle. So we'll have to save that for another video.